Hey guys, welcome back to another video with me and LightNReset. I'm gonna let him introduce himself here.
Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well.
We are back with another tier list, back with another banger. Since y'all
Of
loved the
course.
first one so very much, even though there's haters down there. There's a couple haters, even though we said it was opinion. Okay. But it's okay. We love all of you. We love all of you. We love Naraka, and that's why we're here. And we're here to give you a TRIOS weapon tier list. So I hope y'all enjoy the video.
And first, we're going to be talking about staff today. Staff has a great gold focus. It also have a purple focus. Now, the only thing that can defeat the purple focus is higher than a purple focus, which is a golden focus. And what can defeat the gold focus is another gold focus. It'll clash, but overall the staff is a very great weapon for team fights, and that's why it's an S tier. Honestly, I don't really see any other weapon really competing with the staff. Honestly, it's just a great round weapon. Honestly, like in 1v1s it can even be used really good. But Light, do you have anything else you want to say about the staff?
I just love the staff in a way that it can really control a fight and has a lot of AoE attacks if you hit multiple of them. Like if you hit multiple people, yeah, it's like very single target, but it can also, with his like charged up blue attacks, it does do a lot.
Okay, I agree. I definitely agree. I'm gonna let you bring in the next weapon.
So the next weapon we are going to be doing the nunchucks. We both believe, to be honest, that nunchucks go in S tier. It is such a great 1v1 weapon in a sense that if you single out a target from like their duo or from their team, you can kill them pretty much easily. But if also you're in a team play, of course, your Binding Fury will stack up very quickly, and you'll be able to use Dragon Fury very quickly as well. And it does provide a gold stance, and you can also hit multiple people with Dragon Fury. So that's why I believe it's an S tier.
Okay, I agree. I definitely agree with that. Here we have the Blood Rippers. I did not even know this was considered a melee weapon, but you learn something new every day.
So we're gonna ignore the fact that I didn't even know that it was a melee weapon, but in general the weapon is really cracked. It has a complete purple focus, and the only weapons that can rival with it is ones that have gold focus, maybe the daggers because it also has a purple focus. But this weapon itself is really going to do a lot of damage, especially in team fights where you're just running through while purple focus. It's kind of insane. But yeah, there's nothing else I really want to say about this weapon, honestly, so we're just going to get right into the next one. Light, hopefully you don't mind bringing in once again another weapon for me. Thank you.
The next sword we have, or next weapon, we just say, is the pole sword. The pole sword, I believe we put it in S tier for duos and trios. It's because it's such a high damage weapon. It is low speed, which is its downfall, but honestly, it is a tad faster than the greatsword. That's why it's up here compared to the greatsword. Sorry, my guy. The greatsword is not being up in the S tier. It has some great charge attacks, to be honest, and it could be very unpredictable sometimes. Like, it's just after you counter and do that high damage, and after you can also like dash backwards and like do like a charged blue attack forward. I'm still trying to learn how to do that, but I see that in videos a lot, and you know, there's some high potential for the pole sword.
Definitely. Next, we're introducing the newest weapon to Naraka. It's going to be in the S tier. And when this weapon first dropped out, it was crazy damage, crazy range. The dual halberds was an amazing weapon. It still is an amazing weapon, but it was nerfed. It was very nerfed. They took away some of the damage it had. They definitely took from the range it had. The damage is low-key still there, but the crazy range that was once there is definitely gone. It's an unpredictable weapon. The combos are so smooth. They're pretty easy to do. It's not a very hard weapon to do. You might get parried easily if you don't know what you're doing, like dual blades, because dual blades really get consistently parried. But anyways, Light, can you bring it in, please? Bring in the next web.
I am bringing it in with the spear.
Yes.
The spear is gonna be our first weapon in the A tier. It is such a great weapon. Like, don't get me wrong, A tier is still great. It does great damage. It's a single target. It provides gold stands, so don't get me wrong with there. If you get that charged gold stands up there and you just start spinning, they be stuck in there and you won't be able to do anything about it. And like your team can follow up. Exactly, just keep on spinning. Your team can follow up with that. It does provide some great isolation, and if you're lucky enough, it can hit more than one person. So I think that's pretty much like Spear, such a solid choice. It's still in the A tier, still pretty good. Not in the B tier yet, but for our next one, for the A tier, Herku and I will continue on.
I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my baby girl, the longsword. I love it, I love it, I love it.
My favorite weapon. It's in the A tier. You know what? I still love it. The AoEs on the longsword is amazing, especially when you're in a 3v3 and maybe you're playing support. Y'all know I am a Karumi, but Takari is a ping main. So I'm in the back flinging them, flinging it, just throwing it out there, throwing it out there and dodging, throwing it out there and dodging. Because if you parry me, guess what? I'm not close enough to even be able to get hit by that parry reaction. So I'm gonna throw another one at you while you're parrying attacking me. Okay? Okay. So like, can we
Exactly.
agree? The longsword is definitely a single target weapon with AoE capabilities. And don't let me get a Soulja with it, because I'm popping off with that Phoenix Blast. But
Ooh, true.
I'm gonna definitely let Light bring in the dualies.
Yes, next up we have the dual blades in the A tier. The dual blades is very similar to the dual halberds, but in my opinion, in our opinion, dual halberds are way better than the dual blades. Dual blades, of course, is still such a great weapon. It does provide that great speed in those attacks, especially the vertical strikes. It honestly feels very light to use. It's not a heavy weapon. It can also, like, the blue attacks are pretty good, like, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it is quite predictable if, like, you see it coming after you. But, you know, some Soul Jades provide it. Like that running Soul Jade, I can't remember the name, I'm sorry. I can't. But you charge up that left attack, and you start running at them.
Calvary Bloom or something.
That Soul Jade makes those dual blades work. It's like a dual blades, it's like a dual halberds 2.0 right
Like
there.
that Demon Slayer scene when he's like just one of the
Ooh,
monsters. I
true.
forgot. But yeah, dual blades is a really interesting weapon. I'm so glad we got the halberds, honestly, so we can put them dual blades to rest. Okay.
Exactly.
But here is the beginning of our beer. Beer beer is crazy. I do not drink beer, but no, nothing against the people that do, of course. But we have the daggies here, daggers. So how I feel about the daggers. The daggers are in B. I wish they were a little bit higher, but I couldn't put them any. We couldn't put them any higher because daggers and trios. It's a hit or miss. It's a very single target focused. There is one good thing about it in group fights is that you have a purple focus. Now, if the purple focus hits anybody that's doing a blue focus, anybody that's it's putting them on the floor, which is really great. But other than that, you have two dashes. You have the built-in mechanic dash, which is really good. The regular horizontal charge is very decent. It's just very lackluster in trios. It's just very underwhelming in trios because I mean, unless you're doing popping off in a 1v3 or a 1v1, I mean, I really don't see no use for daggers unless you have a really good soul jades. But we're not talking about soul jades here. We're just talking about the weapon by itself. So yeah, that's why we put dagger in the B tier. Sad to see, sad to see. But I'm gonna let Light
Very.
in the next one.
Alrighty, next we're getting a little bit lower. We are putting the katana next in the C tier. The katana, don't get me wrong, wonderful weapon in solos and maybe a little bit of duos, but it's such a single focus weapon. Like most of its stuff is just single focus, which doesn't really work well with duos and trios. That's why the dagger was a little bit iffy of where we were gonna put it. It's just that it has that purple focus that can cancel blues too. So that's why we're putting it up in B. But the katana, other weapons just do kind of the same thing, but just better than the katana, in my opinion. It has some great combos. Like, don't get me wrong, if you get someone in a combo, it's great. But the only problem is that in duos and trios, teammates be protecting each other and be canceling out other people's combos. And to get the most value out of katanas, doing those insane combos that everyone knows. And so, not being able to do that makes it a bit of like a little bit like it doesn't make it that good. It's a bit lacking some damage in my opinion.
Definitely.
So, and that's honestly the reason why I feel like we should put it in C tier. But after the katana, we do have looks like the last melee weapon, which Hirkuna and I would finish it off.
Like you finish it off because I don't want to take my head off because of what I'm finna say about
Oof. Okay. Alrighty. I'll finish it off. Okay. So next we have is the Great Sword. I am the villain of the Great Sword community. I am sorry. I apologize. We are putting it in D tier. Like, don't get me wrong. Okay, Great Sword community. You have high damage, insane damage, probably one of those highest damage in the whole game. Like, don't get me wrong there. It's just, it's so predictable in what you're gonna do next. You have to be super skilled in what you do with the Great Sword to actually pull it off. It has a lot of easy blue attack reads, so like you can just counter it very easily and get punished for it. Like whenever I see like a gold greatsword, I'm keeping it in my inventory for no one else to use, but I'm not using that. Like I'm sorry. Like it's the only exactly like the only reason why I would keep the greatsword and actually use the greatsword in duos and trios if your team's fighting and you come up sneakily behind the enemy and just charge up that 3 horizontal attack and just spin your way through the fight and just one-shot everyone. But that's very rare because people are very aware of what's happening in the team fight. So that's why we were putting it in D tier. I apologize, Great Sword community. Once again, this is opinionated. This is in our experiences with the Great Sword. But yes, that was our final weapon for the melee tier. I will let Herkunai start with our range weapons.
Yes. So, our first range weapon that we're going to be going into today is going to be the Flame Bringer, and we bringing her right to the S tier.
Bring her the fire.
Bringing her the fire to the S tier. We are putting her at the top of the range weapons S tier because the simple fact that she can break through. I'm calling her a she. I say yo. She can break through Justina's F ability that heals her armor because the simple fact that it attacks her health instead. And in group fights, burning people, even in a Karumi ult, you're gonna turn her ult into a fire element ult. You're gonna mess some things up with this weapon. I'm gonna just put it like that. Ain't even much to say about it. This weapon is very good. It burns groups. It burns ultimates. It burns abilities. What does it burn? Let's be for real.
Nothing. It burns everything.
It burns everything
It's unstoppable.
in its way. And I'm gonna let Light bring in the next unstoppable weapon.
Oh yeah. Next we got the Swarm. One of my favorite range weapons over here. The Swarm does provide very high damage, but you do have to charge it up. Don't get me wrong. You are going to be standing still, like very slowly moving by charging it up. But if your two teammates are going in ham and you're charging that bad boy up, you're going to let that thing rip and like shoot it everywhere. You can aim it, you know, especially it's a bit probably easier with PC, but you're just shooting it everywhere. You don't have to aim in one spot, and it does so high damage that the enemy team literally just freaks out and just tries to run away and hide. And your team won't let them do that, of course, because they're on their bums 24/7, grappling hooking them, stomping them, and you're just shooting them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see it as often, but if you guys do see it in one of those chests, one of those shops, definitely get it.
And don't let the other team get it because they will clear you.
Exactly.
Okay,
Next.
yeah. Next, we have the repeating crossbow. This is actually one of my friend's favorite weapons. And I gotta do it some justice. It's not my favorite weapon, but it's hers, so I gotta do it some justice. The repeating crossbow is a very fast range weapon. I love it. I love it in all honesty. I love it when I poison soul jade, the healing soul jade, because who doesn't want to heal their team with a gun? Who doesn't want to poison the enemy That poison goes burr, literally burr. But yeah, that's really
Exactly.
all I gotta say about it. The weapon itself is kind of underwhelming. But when you have those soul jades with it, it's like very overwhelming, very quick. It can go from eh to really quick,
Oh
basically,
yeah.
is what I'm saying here. And I'm going to
Yeah.
let Light explain to y'all why we're putting the bow in A tier. Okay?
Of
Okay.
course. So the bow is going in A tier. Um, personally, you know, I love the bow. Don't get me wrong. Who doesn't love bows in games? Bows in games are sick as heck.
Right,
Okay,
right, right.
like it's amazing. It it does have pretty high damage. Don't get me wrong, especially with those headshots you get in them in, and the charged up second attack. You know, with the bow, really good there. But you can also just spam it. Like you don't have to charge it up to the first one. If you don't charge it up to the first one, it's gonna do the same amount of damage. You just have to charge it up to the second one to do the same amount of damage. So if you just knock someone down, take out your bow, spam that, and then after that's easy 1-2 shots in, like 600 damage right there. So that's honestly why we put the bow in A tier, because it's honestly quite consistent in what you do. You can spam it, you can charge it up, either one.
Yes,
But
yes,
that's
yes.
basically it for the bow.
Mhm.
Next, we're gonna be going on with the pistol, which Rick and I will continue
Yes.
that.
We are bringing in the pistol in B tier. Okay, but yeah, the pistol is a very, I don't want to say underwhelming, but if you're not fully charging the pistol up, then I don't see the purpose of you using the pistol. Unless somebody's like very one shot and you just do a little pew pew, like a little pew pew. And that's cool, but the bow does it better, the repeater does it better, the swarm does it better. Everything does it better. Except the ones that's under it, of course. Okay. But yeah, that's why we're putting the pistol in each here. Hopefully nobody takes my head off because of it. This is all opinion, remember. Because I know how y'all like to fuss. Okay. I'll let Light bring in the cannon.
Yes, the cannon, the cannon. Okay, so the cannon is gonna be going into the C tier, but before you guys attack and be like, cannons are like super busted because it does AoE damage. Yes, it does. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But we're talking about without Soul Jades here. Soul Jades make the cannon very unstoppable, or we're putting that in A or S tier right now. But this is no Soul Jades, and the cannon is very hard to aim with, so you have to have some practice with it. I personally just practice with the cannon a lot, so I'm pretty good with it. But without any Soul Jades or anything, it doesn't. It's very hard to aim with and very hard to actually deal quite a lot of damage, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good, you know. Um it does area damage good, and it doesn't get like stopped by like attacks such as the next weapon that we're going to be talking about. But that's basically it for the cannon. With Soul Jades, very good. Without Soul Jades, very lackluster. But next we're going to be moving on with the musket. Do
Okay.
you want to finish it off, or do you want me to
I
finish it
want to
off?
finish it off because I
Oh,
have a
you finish
personal
it off.
vendetta with this weapon because I have not
Uh-oh.
hit a shot with this weapon since I came to Naraka a year ago. Okay. And it's a personal thing. Maybe it's just me, but this girlie gotta go to the D. Okay, she gotta sit in D. She's gonna take her seats over there at the bottom because I have not hit one shot with this weapon in my life. Like, oh my gosh, it's actually insane. But I think the weapon, me personally, I think the weapon is very hard to aim. I think that it's very clunky on console for the most part. I don't know about other console users. Actually, I do. They hate the weapon too. So yeah, I'm gonna let y'all get a PC perspective on it because I'm not a PC player just yet, but I will be. Well, go ahead, Light.
um Me? Honestly, I don't mind it in solos, if I have to be honest. The only reason why I don't like it in duos and trios is that the bullets sometimes get cancelled with like attacks. Um, so that honestly the same thing with the bow too, but the only reason with the bow is that you can actually charge it up to deal additional damage and wait for an opportunity. With the musket, even though if you aim in or you wait, you're not gonna be dealing more damage if you get a shot in, that is. So at least with the bow, you have an opportunity to deal more damage. But with the musket, I prefer just to go something else with more AOE damage, or an AOE splash, or maybe just the bow just to get like a lucky shot in and headshot them and deal high damage. But I agree with the musket being in D tier or maybe just a C tier if you can actually aim with it. But other than that, I'm okay with it being where it is.
As she should stay right at the bottom. But yes, guys, this is going to be the end of our tier list video. I hope we did much better with this one. I had a new mic. I was able to get proper rest before this one. But yeah, I really enjoy doing tier list videos. We're probably going to continue doing them, and I love working with LightNReset. Of course, this is like my bestie when it comes to anything content wise. Oh my
Back to yeah.
God. Yeah, it was nice having you here. Like, wonderful thing having you here to do videos with. Hopefully, we do
I
many more.
appreciate it. I appreciate the invitation, and of course, we'll have future videos together as always.
Yes, yes, guys. So, with that being said, we're going to see y'all on the next one.
Inside, you got me tight, in night, I'm so fucked.